Today we're tying the micro dungeon version of Kelly Galloup's iconic streamer pattern. We're going to use an SW002 and a size 4 for the rear hook, and then a size 2 for the front hook, as this is an articulated fly. So we're going to start with our thread right above the hook barb. Here we'll tie in a clump of Marabou about the length of the hook shank itself as the tail. Next we'll tie in a strip of flash on either side of the tail. Now I'll tie in a hackle feather and then a section of wire. Here I'm going to cover the body in some dubbing. Now I'll bring the hackle feather forward and then follow with the wire, shaking the wire as I wrap it forward so it doesn't trap down the hackle fibers. To attach the rear section of the fly to the front section, we're going to be using 19-strand Beadalon wire. Pass the Beadalon wire through the eye of your rear section. So here, that rear section is on a loop of that wire. I'm going to add in a tuft of Marabou. I'll also repeat the same process with the wire, hackle feather, and dubbing. Here, I'm going to tie in a set of rubber legs and a set of dumbbell eyes. One time-saving trick here is to use lead wire to trap down all these fibers before you tie in the deer hair head. Here, I'll get the lead out of the way, but I'm going to save that extra long tag end because it'll come in handy later. I'm going to add my first stack of deer hair just behind the eyes, leaving the fibers long on the back end to create a collar. Now here's where that extra lead wire comes in handy, as I'm going to bind down the collar so I don't trim it off later. Now I'll work this section of deer hair backward and then add my next stack. Now I'll tie in another stack on the bottom side of the fly. Here I'll tie in one more patch of hair on the front side of the eyes. Here I'm going to add in one last final trick that makes this fly much easier to complete. I'm going to cut a slit in a plastic bag. I'm going to run my thread and the eye of the hook through that slit, and then pull backwards to hold all that hair back as I whip finish. Just be careful here not to hook yourself. Now I can trim this giant mass of deer hair using either a straight razor or scissors. And there you have the micro dungeon, an excellent articulated streamer pattern.